Hello, and welcome to, what is this, episode 66, 67? I don't know what number it is, of 10,000 Stitches podcast, a weekly chit-chat all about the joys of small-scale knitting. My name is Andy, and thanks for joining me today. If you were looking for me on the interwebs, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Ravelry as Purlbug, P-U-R-L-B-U-G. You can find my blog at thepurlbug.com, and we have the 10,000 Stitches podcast group on Ravelry. If you're looking for links to anything that I mentioned today, if you're watching this using the embedded video on the blog post or the Ravelry thread, everything will be linked right below the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, in the description box below the video, there will be a link to the blog post. You can go there and then find everything linked below the embedded video. Today is Sunday, June 4th? Yes, Sunday, June 4th. And this episode will go up on Tuesday, June 6th. I think if I remember correctly, today is Celeste from Yarn to Table podcast. I think it's her birthday today, so if it is, happy birthday, although you'll see this late, so happy late birthday. But yeah, I think I remember her saying that on her last episode, so yay. Otherwise, this episode I think is going to be a pretty short episode. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I'm mostly recording today. I mean, it's kind of one of those weeks to where normally I maybe just wouldn't record because I don't have a lot to talk about. But I am testing out sort of my new recording setup, and so I wanted to at least give that a shot and record a quick, episode. But my guess is that we might be around the 30-minute range. Who knows? Maybe I'll be totally wrong. But probably a shorter episode this week. And I know it looks like I am, not properly dressed to be recording, but I promise I am properly dressed. I'm actually wearing a maxi dress, so I'm wearing a dress, but it just, from the waist up, it just looks like I'm wearing a tank top. So yeah, but it's Sunday, it's a lazy day, so that's what we're doing. Anyway, otherwise this is going to be a pretty normal sort of episode. We'll go through the normal format, finished objects, works in progress coming up next. We'll talk about the knit along, question of the week, and then we'll do some chit chat at the end. So yeah, finished objects. I don't have any. I have a half object I can show you guys, so why don't we kind of go into works in progress on that note. I actually have two half objects. My first half object I don't have here to show you. It's the sort of modified simple skip socks that I've been making for Wesley. I realize I haven't really shown them in a while because they've been living at my desk at work. So one of them is finished, and I think I started the second one. I don't remember if I cast on the second one or not. But yeah, so I will hopefully have I'll try and remember to bring them home next week, and regardless of whether they're done or not. But one of those is finished. And then one of the other pairs of socks I have going right now is finished, and I do have that to show you. So, these are my speckled space socks that I'm making for myself. And this is the one that's finished. So this is what it looks like. This is what the top of it looks like. So you can kind of see what the patterning looks like on there. So yeah, this yarn is hand-dyed yarn that I did. Here's sort of just the yarn by itself. It's sort of this very speckly orange with some, lighter speckles, some yellow, some pinks, some reds. I really love the way that this knit up. I especially think that it looks really great with this speckled space sock patterning. I'll just give you an uppy closey look there, if it's gonna focus. So yeah, really, really great patterning. I did this is a 68 stitch sock with 36 stitches across this top part and then 32 stitches across the bottom. Otherwise, other than, the speckled space sock stuff on the top, is just kind of my normal pattern for short socks. So I did 10 rows of 2x2 rib. I did half a pattern repeat, which is about 17 rows before I started the heel, because this is a short sock, obviously. I did sort of my normal 64 stitch heel and heel turn and gusset decreases, and then did it to basically the normal length that I normally do for short socks or for my socks in general. And then I did just sort of my normal squarish, roundy-ish toe. So yeah, other than the stuff on the top, pretty normal sock for me. I managed to get it so that I just fit in a third pattern repeat. So you can see this is the end of that third pattern repeat, and then I immediately started the toe. So it was just the perfect length like that. For me to be able to get 3 pattern repeats across the top of the sock before I finished it off. So yeah, that one is done, and I actually have not started the other one yet. So yeah, because I've just been, I don't know, I had a case of startitis, which you guys are going to see in just a second, the thing that I started instead of starting the other socks. So, but I'm probably going to get the other socks started very soon, because as I'll tell you when I show you the next thing, I'm kind of at a stopping point on that thing. So yeah, this one, I should start the other one probably tonight is my guess. So yeah, this is being knit on US size 1s, which is a 2.25 millimeter needle. And like I said, it's a 68 stitch sock. So that's that. And then let's show you guys the other work in progress. So the other work in progress is not much to look at right now. I mean, I'll show it to you in just a second, but the pattern is Driftwood, and this is a pattern by Isabel Kramer. And if that sounds familiar, it's because she is also the designer who did the Polly sweater, the Polly cardigan, that I just finished up a week or two ago, and have, by the way, been wearing like crazy at work. I took it in with me to my office because, as I've said before, my office is crazy chilly. So I've been leaving it at my office, but I've been wearing it pretty much every day, unless I'm wearing something that is not conducive to like putting a sweater like that over it. But if I were to wear something like this, or like a t-shirt or something to work, that way I'm cool enough when I'm walking to and from work and when I go outside, but I can put on that, nice, light sweater when I'm inside, and it keeps me a little bit warmer. So I have been wearing the heck out of it. Love it. Anyway, and I really enjoyed, that pattern from her, so I figured I would give her pattern another try. So I'm doing the Driftwood. This is another free pattern like the Polly was. And this is sort of what the picture on the pattern looks like. Oh, the air conditioning's going right now, so it's blowing my paper. But it's a, long sleeve, sort of like a Henley style sort of shirt with that's what I think of when I see like that sort of, half button thing on the front. Yeah, and striped. So I will show you what I'm making it out of. If you guys remember, I've had this yarn that I, was saying I was going to make the Greystone out of, and if you've been around for any length of time, you'll know that I'm not so good at sticking to what I say that I'm going to make for patterns, so I kind of decided I wanted to make this sweater instead. Although I don't even think of this as like a sweater. I think of it more so as just like a top. But anyway, so I'm making it out of this Cascade Yarns Anchor Bay. This is a 50% cotton, 50% superwash merino yarn. It feels cottony, but in like a good way, like in a way that I think that this will make a very cozy, yet not too warm, top that will be good to wear kind of year round. And it is a DK weight yarn, 262 yards per 100 grams. So yeah, I have a whole bunch of this yarn. And I had bought a sweater's quantity of it because I got it on sale. And I was thinking I was going to do another cardigan, and I decided I really just wanted to do this shirt. Like this pattern has been in my library forever. And I figured, you know what, it's time. So, this is being knit on US size 7. So this is a DK weight yarn, like I said. The pattern calls for a worsted weight. So obviously I'm doing it with a little bit lighter yarn than is called for in the pattern. And so I've had to sort of use the gauge that I have for this yarn and the needles that I'm using, which is a US 7, which is a 4.5 millimeter needle. And just sort of, I looked at the total body counts. I had to do the same thing with the Polly because my gauge was off, but I looked at the total body counts, which, you can do this with pretty much any sweater or shirt or anything. Basically, you just find where it is that they tell you to kind of like join it in the round. So for me, for this pattern, that's on the bottom of page 3, right? So it says, now join to work in the round. And I basically looked at those total stitch counts, and I then used my gauge to figure out how many inches around that would be and pick the one that would be closest to what I thought the measurement I wanted was. So for me to get something that will be appropriately sized for my dimensions and have a little bit of positive ease, I'm making a size large. But if you're going, like if I were to go off of pure bust measurement and using, getting gauge, I would probably wind up making like a small or medium. So I'm definitely making a couple sizes bigger than what I normally would just based on measurements, but it's what is needed to make the yarn work out. So let's show you guys what I'm working with here. I have all of this in my, I guess my project bag for this project is this reusable shopping bag. I think I've shown this before. This is what my Polly was living in, and this is what this is living in because it's a lot of yarn. So it's just kind of keeping all of it together. But yeah, this is where I am, and this is why I'm at a stopping point is, so I had this pair of US 7s. This is I think maybe a 24 inch clover, Takumi clover, whatever, bamboo needle in a 7. And it is now getting to be way too small to hold all the stitches. And I haven't even I'm still increasing for the sleeves. I haven't even actually gotten to the neckline increases. So at this point, I basically am hesitant to keep cramming more stitches on this needle. But I will show you, let's see if I can kind of pull it apart in one section to show you what it looks like. So this is sort of what it looks like. I also don't want to bonk my microphone. So yeah, this is how it's looking right now. Like I said, I'm increasing for the sleeves still. So this pattern has sort of these continuous set-in sleeves, which is something new for me. I just poofed my hair up. Which is something new for me, which is kind of interesting and different and nice to, learn a new technique. And so, yeah, I'm just, I don't know, maybe, how many rows am I into the pattern? 1, 2, 3, 4, less than 30 rows in. So yeah, and as you can see, based on this picture, right, this is knit to be a striped, like a color striped cardigan. I only have one color of this yarn because I had bought it thinking I was going to be making something that was all one color. So if maybe you might have noticed when I showed it before, but I am actually sort of doing stripes by doing stripes of stockinette and then reverse stockinette stitch. I can't actually see my screen. Yeah, okay, you can see that. So yeah, I'm doing more so like texture stripes, but I thought that would make it a little bit more interesting, give it a little more visual flair to it without making it too complicated, and it will keep my brain busy when I get to the body and I'm in that endless hole of stockinette. At least every couple rows I will be able to do reverse stockinette. So yeah, but I have ordered new needles. I actually ordered a couple of Knit Picks, the interchangeable tips, and a couple of cords. I say a couple. I ordered one set of US 7s and one set of US 4s for a future pattern that I want to do because, if you're paying for shipping, might as well get your money's worth. And then a couple cords. So hopefully those will be here by the end of this week, and then I can, keep going on this. But as of right now, I kind of have to just set it aside and wait until I get new needles because it's really getting to be uncomfortable to knit. But I decided to go with the Knit Picks wood needles, partly because I didn't want my gauge to change too much going from bamboo needles to the next set of needles that I transferred onto, and partly because dealing with bigger needles, so I really enjoy using metal needles for sock yarn because it just, it's rigid, I don't have to worry about breaking it, and the nice pointy tips. Whereas with something like this, where it's bigger needles, the needles themselves just weigh more, and it's a lot of yarn hanging off of them. I think I decided that I would really prefer to have lighter needles if possible for the sake of my hands, which is why I'm going with bamboo and then wood on the Knit Picks ones that I ordered. But I'll show those to you guys next week because they'll probably be here by then. But I think, yeah, so that's it for everything that's currently happening. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, save, do all that stuff, and I'll be right back and we can talk about what's coming up next. Okay, so what's coming up next? The first thing is, so I don't know if you guys remember this. This was a while ago, but I made a pair of tube socks for my little brother's lady friend's daughter. And I had talked about how there was yarn that I had that I wanted to make another pair of tube socks out of, but I just, never got around to it. So that's definitely something that I want to get done sooner rather than later, to the point where I've actually wound up the yarn for the socks. So this, when I did it last time, I used 1 50-gram skein of Knit Picks Felici, and I divided it in half and made, one sock out of each half. And that seemed to make decently sized socks for a little kid. So with this one, I actually separated out 2 25-gram balls and then 1 50-gram ball from a 100-gram skein. So this is the 50-gram ball. The other balls are in there. I just thought that it'd be easier to just show you one. But yeah, I have it wound up and separated off and ready to go. This is what the yarn looks like. It's this sort of crazy rainbow speckled yarn that I thought she would like a lot. So that is definitely something that I want to get done sooner rather than later. So yeah, that will probably get done as soon as I finish up the Speckled Space socks, which are sitting down here. That's why I was pointing there. So that'll probably get done, yeah, once I'm done with those. And then I'm not really sure. Like I said, when I ordered the new needles for my, for that driftwood, driftwood. I also ordered a pair of US 4s, and those are to make another pattern by Isabel Kramer, which is called, oh my gosh, I want to say it's called like Eddie or something. I think it's like a person's sort of name, but it's just, sort of a basic V-neck t-shirt kind of thing that again, has been in my queue or my library forever. And so I wanted to buy needles for that. I'm not entirely sure that I have the yarn that I want to use for that, but that's definitely something that, looking into the future is something that I want to do sooner rather than later, probably before we end summer. But I'm not entirely sure that I want to knit that out of wool. I think maybe I would like to get like a linen or, something, or a linen blend yarn to knit it out of, and I don't have any of those yet. So, that's something that is going to take a little bit more planning, but that's definitely something that I would like to get to soon as well. But yeah, otherwise, I don't know. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm knitting a bunch of garments. But what I realized and what kind of got me to cast on the driftwood, and I think this is why I was having a little bit of like start-itis with, not wanting to start the new, the second sock from my Speckled Space socks, is that I'm realizing that socks are no longer really a challenge for me. And of course, there are ways I could make them challenging. Doing color work, doing stuff like that definitely makes them more challenging. But, I always say I'm a product knitter, and I really am a product knitter. I like having the finished product, but if the process is super duper boring, I don't enjoy the process, and then I don't care how much I like the product. I have to enjoy the process somewhat. And here's another reason why I am, I think, slowing down on my sock knitting. And so recently I washed all of my socks. Well, they're not all clean anymore, but I washed pretty much all my socks. So for a very short period of time, all of my hand knit socks were clean. And at that point I realized, okay, it's summer here. I should put away some of my winter socks. So I did that. I separated out all of the socks that I knew for sure I did not want to wear until it got cold again because they are just too warm. And then I also separated out all the socks where it's like, okay, I could wear them, but they also are a little bit too warm. Like they're not summer socks. So let me show you what that looks like. So this basket contains that second group, where these are socks that in theory I could wear over the summer. A lot of them are, merino blends, or they're thinner yarns. So they are wearable over the summer if I need, if I'm really in a bind. But they're likely to be too warm, especially as we get further and further into the summer. These are likely to be too warm. So this is what this basket looks like. It is stuffed to the gills. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pairs, plus a couple of like these are commercial socks, like hiking socks. Ouch, I poked myself. In here as well, but I have 12 pairs of hand knit socks in here that I won't be wearing probably again until the fall. So that's that. And then this box contains all the socks that I know I will for sure, no chance want to wear until it gets cold again. These are all the ones that are on the very warm side of things. And I have no idea how many pairs are in here because unlike the basket where I, stacked them vertically, these are actually stacked horizontally for the most part because I wanted to fit as many as possible in here. But you can see the size of this basket, right? It's about the size of my head. And it is full. Like it is full to the top, packed full of socks. So you can kind of see in there. Like it is full of socks. So I would guess that I probably have at least another 12 pairs in here, probably closer to like 15 or so. So I have a lot of socks. I have enough hand knit socks that during the winter, I can wear a different pair of socks every day for probably a month and not run out. And I don't say that to be like boastful or to, brag about like, oh, look at how many socks I have. It's just that, I've knit a lot of socks and I no longer need socks so much. And so that's why I've been knitting a lot of socks for other people or trying to knit, more summer appropriate socks for myself. Because I don't need any more warm winter socks. I need to start wearing some of these out before I, need more. So yeah, that's sort of why I'm transitioning. And in terms of smaller projects, yeah, I would like to knit, some sock head hats, and I need to get the proper needles for that. I would like to knit, more hand warmers. I just need to kind of get motivated to do that, and realize that, like, okay, it's okay to switch away from socks, but I need to find something else to occupy that, because I can't knit unlimited garments because I don't have the time or the resources for that. Anyway, some of that was just thinking out loud. So if you made it all the way through that thinking out loud process, kudos to you. But yeah, so that's what's coming up next. Knit along, I'm not entirely sure what the exact number of finished objects is, but we have quite a few by now, and that's pretty awesome. So this knit along runs all the way through the end of June. Yeah, the end of June. So, we're at the beginning of June, still plenty of time to get something in. As a reminder, the theme is, for the color, either red or pink, or for the theme, like the technique theme, like intricate designs, so either large charted patterns or, unique knitting techniques like double knitting or brioche or bobbles, things like that. So, yeah. That's that. Keep them rolling in, because I have really been enjoying seeing them. I've been seeing a couple of color work patterns as well, which is super fun and exciting. So, yay. Yeah. So let's see. Question of the week. I don't have one. I don't have one. Thank you to everyone who responded to last week's question of the week, which was show me how you weave in your ends. I definitely got some interesting ideas of things that I would like to try. And so thanks for the responses on that. And I just can't come up with one for this week. So tell me one good thing that happened to you this week. Tell me something awesome that happened this week. Just tell me something awesome that happened. That's my question of the week. What awesome thing happened to you this week? So if you were only here for the knitting stuff, that's going to be it for that. Yeah, like I said, a little bit shorter week. If you want to hear a little bit about the past week of my life, hang around and we will do some chit chat. So chit chat. This was a very short work week for me. I think the last time I actually recorded on Monday because it was Memorial Day and I didn't have to work. So I had Monday off. National holiday and all. And because I work for university, we get those kinds of holidays off. But then I also wound up taking off Fridays. I only had a 3-day work week this week. It was, so yeah, which was for the best, because I had one of those weeks where it was a really low motivation week. And I don't remember if I've talked about this before, but every so often I get those weeks where I just can't seem to get anything done. I want to get things done. I just can't seem to overcome the inertia of not doing things. And that was this past week, which was just super frustrating. And I think part of it's because, I don't have a lot going on at work right now. There's not a lot that needs to get done. And because of that, I just can't get motivated to get anything done. So thankfully, we're kind of coming to the end of that. Summer classes start the week after this current week when you would be watching this. So that will definitely give me a kick in the butt to get things done again. But yeah, so I took Friday off. So basically, Tuesday through Thursday were not really very memorable days because I just didn't get a whole lot done. And when I recorded on Monday, I talked all about just this cascade of annoyingness that has been happening to us recently, and still don't have the car back, which is frustrating. But on Friday, so I took Friday off of work, and I kind of decided this on Thursday. So thankfully, there's nothing really going on. I could just decide I'm taking a day off work. So took Friday off of work. We rented a car for the day for 24 hours. And we went out to Busch Gardens on Friday during the day, which I did not vlog just because I wanted to just enjoy it and not have to worry about vlogging. So we went out to Busch Gardens, which was really fun. We were able to, ride a couple of our favorite rides because we got there really early. And they also are doing their food and wine festival right now. So we got to eat some yummy things. It was actually surprisingly good. I find that the food at Busch Gardens is just in general better than King's Dominion. So if you watched the vlog that I did of our trip to King's Dominion for the Taste of Virginia, the food and wine festival at Busch Gardens, I think, was way better, magnitudes better. And if we go out again before it ends, which we would like to, hopefully once we get the car back, I will definitely vlog it the second time. But so that was really fun. So we did that on Friday. So we left Richmond at about 9 o'clock in the morning. And it's about an hour drive out to Williamsburg, which is where Busch Gardens is. So, we got out there about 10, and I think we left Busch Gardens. I'm trying to think of when it was, maybe 1 or so, or 1:30, I think. Then we had, the hour-long drive back here. And our thought process was, okay, we're paying to rent a car for the day. We are going to get the most possible use out of this car as possible. So, so we got back and we didn't even come home. We immediately went to this greenhouse that we really like, which is kind of on the other side of Richmond from us. But it's this greenhouse that we really like because I wanted to pick up some plants because I've recently gotten into house plants and trying to fill our apartment with plants. And so we went there and I bought like $50 worth of plants because plants, it turns out, get expensive really fast. But I actually got a fair number of plants for $50, so I'm not like sad about it or anything. One of them is sitting right here. This is one of the ones that I bought. This is a little spider plant. This is actually my first spider plant that I've ever had. So yeah, that's fun. Wesley got another plant that's actually sitting right here. He got this bromeliad that was really cool looking. So you can kind of see it against the door back there. So these aren't flowers, they're like leaves, but they're purple. We were both very confused about it. It was a very interesting bromeliad. So yeah, we picked that up for Wesley, and I picked up a couple other plants, including some succulents, which I'm not very good at growing, but I did some research and found succulents that can be left outside here in Virginia year round. And so I kind of put them in a little dish and I'm leaving it outside in the hopes that if I can't baby it, right, if it's out of sight, it'll be out of mind and they will just survive on their own. Although I'm not sure that I'm off to a good start because I think I accidentally left them somewhere that got too much sun. And so I checked on them just before I started recording and they were looking one of them was looking a little sad. So I gave it a little water and put it in the shade and hopefully it'll perk back up, but So yeah, so we went to the greenhouse, did that, and we also had planned for me to be able to take my computer into an Apple store because, like I said last week, my laptop just died suddenly a couple weeks ago. And so I made an appointment to bring my computer in at like 6:15 or something. So, we wrapped things up at the greenhouse, we hustled our butts back to the apartment, picked up my computer, and then had to drive way to the other side of town to go to the mall. So we got some dinner, went to the mall, dropped off my computer. I kind of explained to them what the problem was, that it wasn't able to see the hard drive. They did some diagnostic things. It turns out it's what I thought it was, which is that the little cable that connects the hard drive to the logic board was fried. So there was nothing wrong with the hard drive itself. It just couldn't see that the hard drive was there because the little, bridge was burned out. So they're like, oh, well, we have someone here who can fix this tonight. Can you come back at 8:30, pick it up then? I was like, yes. So that was perfect because I didn't even think about, well, what if I have to leave it there because I wouldn't have been able to get back up there. So luckily we were able to get it fixed before we had to come home, picked it back up, came home. So yeah, it was a very busy day on Friday, but it was a very productive day. I feel like we really got good use out of renting a car. The only bummer was by the end of the day, I had such a massive headache because, we'd been out in the sun all day and just going all day, and I was just tired, and I wound up getting a really, really bad headache from it. And so the drive back home from the mall, I was probably not the nicest, person to be sitting in a car with. Not like, I just wanted to be home. I was just like, I just want to get home so I can take some Advil. But otherwise, it was a really, really fun day, and I'm super glad I took it off of work. Definitely worth a vacation day, just to get everything I needed done. And then yesterday was Saturday. Yesterday was just sort of a lazy day trying to recover from Friday. And today has sort of been similar. Our internet's been in and out all day, which it's on right now, but it's been just like randomly going out because Comcast. So yeah, today's just been sort of a lazy day. I have a pot roast cooking in the crock pot out in the kitchen, and I'm gonna make a big batch of soup as well for our meals for the week. And yeah, otherwise I'm just gonna kind of take it easy, chill out. It's really hot outside today, so I'm kind of just trying to be lazy as much as possible. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for me today. So I guess I didn't mention this. So, right, my computer got fixed, but I'm actually not recording on my computer right now. I'm actually recording on our desktop. So, in conjunction with getting our computer fixed, we also bought a couple pieces of hardware that we needed to be able to do some stuff with our desktop that we built. This big, powerful, nice, fancy gaming desktop that has, big, fancy processor and everything in it, which I couldn't record on because I didn't have what I needed to be able to record on it and do my editing. So we got that fixed. So that's why I'm recording on here right now, is you to kind of see how the setup works, and see how I like doing the editing on this computer. It's got a much larger screen, which will be nice. And because it's so much beefier than my laptop, I can actually record at the maximum resolution that my webcam allows, which is 1080 instead of 720. Because all this time I've been having to record at 720 because that's all my computer can handle. My laptop couldn't handle recording at 1080. But this guy seems to be doing fine, so that'll be nice. Hopefully you will have noticed that the resolution seems a little bit better, and my videos will hopefully be higher quality from now on. So yeah, but that's going to be it for me today. Thank you very much for hanging out, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.